Good evening. Thanks for joining us. My name is Britt Zampano from the High School Counseling Office.
And I'm Bob Oldfield, also one of the high school counselors.
I'm going to share my screen so you can see the presentation we've prepared for you. We're talking tonight about creating schedules for next year. Bob, go ahead and take over.
Okay, I'll have you advance to the next slide. So for those of you that are unsure, this is our breakout by the department. If your child's last name is S through Z and entering the 12th grade, they'll be with Mrs. Tresco. If your child's last name is L through Z in the lower grades, they'll be with Ms. Zampano. In 11th and 12th grade, H through R with Ms. Zampano. In the lower grades, A through K with me. In 11th and 12th grade, A through G also with me. So this evening, we're going to review the scheduling process, talk with you about graduation requirements, how we will be advising your students to choose the right courses for them. And just so you know, this current week, your students are getting the same presentation that you're getting. So it's very consistent information. To start with, our process. The honors and AP application and screening process has taken place between March 1st and the 5th. Those letters to inform you will be going home at the end of the week on March 19th. We'll be looking for a signed copy of those recommendations to be returned to us by Wednesday the 24th. For those of you that haven't seen one of these letters yet, if your child was recommended for an honors or AP class, we'll be asking you to check that yes, they would like to have that recommendation, or no, they'd like to pass on it for this particular year, and then have both you and your students sign off on that. Between March 22nd and April 9th, your students will be meeting with their counselors one at a time out of their PE class to be able to make their course requests for next year. What we've been asking of students is that they come prepared to meet with us. In class, teachers are talking about recommendations for next year and what moving up a grade looks like, regardless of what they're recommended for. On our end, we've been instructing your students to be thinking about things like, what electives would you like to take? If for some reason something doesn't fit, to have one or two backup choices just in case, and also be thinking about whether they'd like to have study halls in their schedule or a full schedule. Something we've been asking of students is we can't promise that there's going to be an opportunity to make changes come fall time. So we're asking students to think very carefully about what they pick, because there might not be an opportunity to make a change. Something that we've addressed with your students, and if this is the first time you're seeing this, please don't be overwhelmed. These are graduation requirements for New York State. On the left side of your screen, you'll see course requirements for Regents Diploma. On the right side, similar requirements for the Regents Diploma with advanced designation. For the most part, there's a lot of similarities. The beginning of both sides of your screen, regardless of the diploma, every student is going to take 4 years of English and 4 years of social studies. A minimum of 3 years of math and 3 years of science. We will encourage your students to take that 4th year, and most students do opt to take that 4 year, just looking ahead to college or career preparation. Every student, regardless of diploma, is going to take a half credit of health. Most students do that during their sophomore year. Every student will take a fine art credit. It may or may not be a traditional art class. There are different varieties of classes that a student takes. Most students complete that requirement their freshman year. Foreign language is one of the places where we start to differentiate between the two diplomas. The minimum requirement for the regular traditional Regents diploma is 1 credit of foreign language. For the advanced diploma, it's 3 high school credits. At our school, that's the end of level 4, which most students take their 10th grade year. Now, there's also an asterisk there. An alternative, if your student is not taking language and does not have an exemption because of an IEP, would be to do a 5-unit sequence. This is something that we've talked about in classes with students. In other words, they're able to replace those credits with alternatives if language is just not their path or not their strength. Every student, regardless of what diploma they're earning, will earn 2 credits of physical education. So they'll take a semester, 1 PE class per semester every year in school. Every student will take some electives that will get them to their 22 credits. Something that we've shared with students is that it's a very rare occurrence that a student would get to senior year and have to pass everything in order to just get those 22 credits. Most of our students are way closer to 30 credits by the time they graduate. If you're a parent that's wrestling with, do I have study hall in my child's schedule or not? We will say the average freshman student earns somewhere between 6 to 7 credits, putting them in very good shape by the time they're seniors. The next slide we're looking at here is the Regents exams required for the 2 diploma types. Again, on the left side, the regular traditional Regents diploma, and on the right side, the Regents diploma with advanced designation. Again, if this is the first time you're seeing this as a parent, please do not be overwhelmed. We will go over this with your students and with you every year during this process. For the traditional Regents diploma, students have to complete a minimum of 1 math exam, 2 social studies exams, English language art exam, and 1 science exam. Big difference for the advanced diploma, and this is one of the sticking points typically for many students. They have to complete and pass all 3 math exams, the Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. Still the same, both social studies exams and the English exam. Another difference being that second science exam. And then another sticking point is that level 4 foreign language exam, which is a teacher written exam, or replacing with your sequence.
So I'll jump in here. This is the million-dollar question, Regents exams during COVID. So last year, our students were exempt from Regents exams in New York State, and that is reflected on their transcripts that get sent to college with an EX. Schools all over the country obviously faced similar situations. So colleges are well aware that students were in fact exempt. This year, I think that we're probably going to get some guidance this week. The federal government said that those tests were not to be waived in each state, but of course the state ed department has their own say, so they appealed to the federal government to have that waived and to perhaps just do a couple of the Regents exams to sort of screen where students are at New York State, but not to have it be a graduation requirement. So that being said, we'll know more about Regents exams this year, but it very much sounds like if your student does take a Regents exam, it is not going to affect their passing the course or graduation requirement. It's simply going to be to see where each district is at after such a crazy year of schooling. A reminder, community service hours, all students are required to fulfill 40 hours of community service. 30 hours are to be completed before they enter 12th grade. So plan on 10 hours a year. I know some of it was tough during COVID, but we do have, Scanda has been great to our kids. A lot of kids up there working with animals. CAS Cares, the library is currently looking for someone to do community service. So there are lots of opportunities. If you have any questions at all, let us know and we'll tell you some places where kids have had success getting those 40 hours. So the course descriptions can be found in the program of studies. This is on the high school website. And it's also in the grade level classroom, Google Classroom for scheduling. So your students can show it to you or you can see it yourself on the website. We want students to have challenging courses, whatever that means to them. You know, everyone's challenged in different ways. We help and try to advise them to start preparing for a college major or career interest. There are AP and honors classes, of course, which that process is sort of going on right now to see if students will be placed in those. We have courses for college credit, and we have a great variety of electives, and they change a little bit every year what's offered. So students need to, they're learning all about it this week and what electives are available to them. So the 8th grade's going into 9th grade, things get a little bit different. This is the year where they get their 1 credit of fine arts. So that's the first thing we ask students to select. They will have Regents exams in algebra and earth science in theory next year. We would need to know about musical performance groups and of course study hall. 8th graders currently they've always had a study hall. It's sort of been a requirement and they didn't get a choice. They can choose next year to not have study hall if they want to take more classes. This is an image of a typical 8th grade schedule this year. It's a little bit different. All of their classes are blocked. They have PE 1 time a cycle. In theory, the study halls and 5th period will be perhaps lunch in the cafeteria if things get a little bit more normal with social distancing. So just a little bit different, a little bit more of a change for 8th graders going into 9th grade. 10th graders get a lot more choices and electives. Most of the students will be taking global history. There will be a Regents exam at the end of that. Most of them will be in biology, also Regents exam, and geometry with a Regents exam at the end. And foreign language, this is sort of the, when they complete that course and take the test at the end, they can be done with their foreign language requirement, but we highly recommend they continue as most four-year colleges really value that. Health is done in 10th grade, so that's a half year, a half credit. Sometimes that can interfere with some of the elective choices that your students want, so they need to keep that in mind, that there is a half-year course that they need to take. And again, musical performance groups, and if study hall is important, we need to know that. Moving into 11th grade is where people start to change a little bit what they're going to be doing. They get more options in math and science. There is a Regents exam at the end of English and at the end of US history. We have Regents chemistry that most of our students take with the Regents exam. We also have a non-Regents option that our 11th graders can take. So for math, most of our students are in Common Core Algebra 2 Regents. It's a 1-year Regents course. For some students, they can spread it out over 2 years with a Regents course or the Regents exam at the end of their senior year. And then we also have non-Regents math options. And again, foreign language, electives, study halls, band, course, orchestra, that sort of thing. Our 12th graders, English, social studies, and science, they have a lot of choices. Physics is a Regents class. Environmental science is very popular as a non-Regents option. At that point, they're done with any sort of graduation requirements or diploma requirements. So a non-Regent science is a fine choice. We also have a few different AP sciences that the students can qualify to get into. Most of our seniors will take pre-calc, Regents level, sort of regular level. And some of our students will be doing the 2nd year of that Common Core Algebra course. Math Advanced Concepts is a non-Regents course, but that does come with college credit. So that's been very helpful for a lot of our seniors going into college. And then we have Honors Pre-Calc and AP Calculus. So early release and late entry, this is when our seniors will have that sort of, if that's important to them, they can let us know. We can't build a schedule around that, but certainly we do try to take that into consideration if that's something that they want to take advantage of as a senior privilege. So our course selection sheets and program of studies are online. You can call the office if you have any questions. Our emails are listed here. The students are doing a great job of taking in all this information, and we will be meeting with them at the end of the month one-on-one. So at that point, we'll see. If they've got any questions, they can email us and contact us as well. But I think we're moving along at a good clip here, getting this all done. And it's a fun time of year to see all the kids and see them get excited for all the possibilities. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good night.